Hey, welcome back to Engineer's Workshop. It's time to get back on the Spitfire project and finish up this is the fan pulley with its new mounting bore, 3 new mounting holes. I already have the bore roughed out. That is going to, well, that's not a part of this, but this is the, actually, yes it is, I'm sorry. This is the, goes on the back side of this spacer, and a double row bearing goes in that bore. And then on the front side of this is the clutch fan for the radiator. So this is going to be in a piece of aluminum, barely big enough, and just for reference, that's 2 7/8 OD. This guy is about 4.5 inch OD. So let's get working on these pieces. I'll show you a quick follow-up on the saw though. I was actually doing some work on the saw even before I made a throat plate. So I made just a piece of Luan here, plunged the blade up through it. I was able to rip a couple pieces, cross-cut a couple pieces relatively safely. First project though for this is going to be the throat plate insert out of oak, and then I'll start working on a rip fence. Also have to get a on-off switch installed. So I've been asked already how flat this ended up, and I guess the answer is pretty flat. The main table, it's a 2000 shim, and I can't really get the 2000 shim under there. If I force it, it will drop. So there's nowhere I could get that 2000 shim to go. I'd say it's probably flat within a thousandths or a thousandths and a half. The wings do have a little bit of a bow to them still. And that is probably about 5 thousandths, I would say. And right now they're flush in the middle, and they're probably sitting a little low here. So all in all, not bad. Going across, this is really pretty good this way. I can't get a 2000ths feeler gauge anywhere under that. So that joint, and when that was mated, makes it pretty doggone flat going this way. Certainly good enough to pass plywood and 2x4s across. So I'm going to call that one good enough, and let's get back over to the lathe. I get to try out my new C2 boring bar from Penn Tool. Still not through. Bunch of it found its way through the spindle. Quick check to see where we're at. This is not a critical bore, it's just clearance. About 678. right at 850. I'm going to go right for the final number on this cut. See how close my dials are. About 871, just curious, maybe I'll do a spring pass and see what that does. Much nicer finish. Oh man, I'm within a thousandths. I'll take it. Okay, so 6 cranks on the infeed and 50 thousandths depth of cut will give me the rough step I need. Getting close. Exactly 30 thousandths away. 10. About 8 thousandths away. Oh, no, I'm there. Oh boy, that's a nice fit. Didn't expect to get there so soon. I'll take it. Unfortunately, door number 3 is now being held on by a wing and a prayer. The rest of that track started to detach, and so as an emergency measure, I attached a couple of straps and a cord going across to the far side of the shop, just keeping some tension on it. Keeping some tension on it so that it can't blow out. I'm going to just go ahead and punt and start taking the panels off of this door from the bottom up. It's going to get interesting because they're kind of heavy, and as I get above my own height and I start removing these fasteners, I'm don't know exactly how I'm going to lower these things to the ground. From that point, I'll probably just let the frame stand in place until I can take the rest of that track assembly down. Also had another small crash. My weather enclosure for the Kearney & Trekker came crashing down. It had gotten busted earlier when the winds got high, and I only had 1x2 framing on this thing, and there was a knot in the middle of one, and so that broke, and then the integrity of this thing went to hell in a handbasket pretty quickly. So I've got to get this wreckage out from around the K&T and start patching this up, because mainly in the summer it just keeps the dirt and filth from getting on the machine. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update of what's going on with the security system and the internet box up there. Got the 2 security cameras. I very cleverly named them Shop 1 and Shop 2, and the way they're positioned, they can actually see, they can both see the 3-ton overhead hoist beam in the middle, just with a little bit of overlap, and then most of the shop in both directions. There are ways into the building that are out of their field of view, but you really can't go anywhere and get into any of the tooling without being in front of them. So I think the placement's pretty good until I get some additional ones. But inside that box, in addition to the uninterruptible power supply, I have the cable modem from Verizon. I have a fairly high strength, Wi-Fi capable router, and I have a Lenovo T10 laptop running the security software for this building. The security software, up to this point, I'm still tweaking with it, but it works day and night. Both cameras have IR lights, so infrared lights, so that they will illuminate the building, pretty well. And I can pull up the security footage and watch myself, coming in and working. I can see what my son does over here. The audio is enabled, so all of that gets recorded in snapshots when the camera is triggered, and also 10 seconds or so of video every time that the cameras are triggered. And what they do is they pass their information off, because the motion sensor says, hey, I saw something, and it passes it off to AI, and the AI makes a determination of, is this a person, is it a vehicle? And if it comes back with strong yes, I've got the settings like at 60%. So if it's 60% sure it's a person, it triggers an alert, then that gets recorded. Also have the ability to send those alerts to the phone, either with a text message, attach a snapshot. It can send emails, it can do all kinds of stuff. It can run different schedules for day and night, tailor the outputs of the cameras for during the daytime, during the nighttime. It can just be configured 6 ways from Sunday, but still tweaking with it, but it's pretty neat. And then there's another component in the house that I'll show you next. I have the security software running on a small server just made out of an old PC. This is a Dell Optiplex i7 with 16 gigs of RAM, and it came with a 1 terabyte hard drive and a license of Windows 10, but I got it off eBay for like $50, and I reconfigured it to run software called Unraid, and I just basically loaded it up with additional network quality drives, and it serves as a server. Now, one of the cool things about Unraid is it will run Docker containers, it can run different things directly, and it can run virtual machines. So the Unraid software is accessible via a web browser, and you can just key in the server address, and you can come up with the control screens for this. This shows the statistics of all of the CPUs, all of your Docker containers that are running, and your virtual machines. The Windows 10 virtual machine that is running the security software for the house is also accessible. And I can pull up the security software to see a live view of the house, and the virtual machine running the security software in the shop. This is an actual laptop PC running in the shop, and the live security camera views of the shop are available also. I can zoom in and look at those individually, or I can switch over and look at the video stream of the security software for the house itself. Now, the ability to run a virtual machine is nice because ultimately I won't have to have the IBM ThinkPad PC over at the shop, which is not conditioned, and in the summer, you know, it could probably get over 100 degrees in that cabinet, which is not healthy for any PC. So once I have the fiber connections run from the building over to the home, I will just add the cameras for the shop to the virtual machine running inside of the Unraid software, and then that software can easily run all three different camera setups. So with this, I have access to all of the security footage that is generated. I have them categorized between the home and the shop. Right now, only the home security footage is populating. So that's my current setup. I can configure active alarms to ping my phone if there's anybody that comes into the shop that we're not aware of. This will send a text or an email alert so that we know what is going on. But for the time being, I can just look at the security footage and see when I've been working over there, when my son's been working over there. It's kind of neat to be able to have that monitoring capability for a remote building. Next operation on the pulley, you've got that outer step, got that depth, got the rough bore is the finished bore for the bearing, which is 0.732 deep and 1.260 in diameter. I want to have about 1/1000th interference with the OD of the bearing. And the depth also from there to the snap ring groove is critical so that there's no end play in that. I think what I'm going to do to set this up is get my tooling touching on the outer face, use gauge blocks for the carriage stop here, and I'll give myself like a little bit of maybe 60/1000ths cleanup. That way I could move in, come in as far as I need to, and just keep taking multiple passes until I get out close to the finished OD, and there again leave 30 to 60/1000ths of stock to clean up, and then start checking things more accurately. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I didn't get as far as I would have liked to with the Spitfire components. A lot of other things got in the way this week, but that way there's always something going on. So I've got the additional footage for what I showed you with the internet and what's been going on with the door, what's been going on with the weather container for the K&T. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Still trying to locate the start-stop switches for the table saw. I'm going to get that mounted up. Then I believe I'm going to take that over to my other building on the carry-all. That's the 3-point platform on my tractor. I'm just going to put it, leave it on the pallet jack, and then put it right on the carry-all with the pallet jack. And that way I can just get over to the other shop and roll it right off into that shop and move it into its final resting place. Before I do that, I have to get the big saw, the 18-inch beach table saw, over to this building. And I promised you I'll be showing you that in an upcoming video, so it keeps getting kicked down the road, kick the can down the road a little bit. But hope you enjoyed what I've gotten done on the Spitfire. I will get more on that in the upcoming week, and start getting the table saws swapped around. Weather's getting nicer and nicer, so trying to take advantage of that, getting some outside work done. Hope you can understand. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Catch you next week on Engineer's Workshop, and as always, until then, stay safe.